In this section, we'll talk about a couple of security concepts in WordPress. So we've talked about security before, and we already know about sanitization and validation and escaping. So in this section, we'll shed some light on user roles and capabilities, and also on nonces. So let's make sure you have your MAMP server open, and I'm gonna change to my theme and run npm start. And let's go to WP admin and login. So when you create a new user in WordPress, so go to users and add new, you will have a field called role here. And it could be a subscriber or admin or author and stuff like that. So the user we are currently logged in with is an administrator. So let's create a new user and let's call it test. And let's make this user a subscriber. So we now have a subscriber user, and we'll use this user later. But let's now take a look at this article here, which is about roles and capabilities in WordPress. So roles are, as we mentioned, are admins and editors and authors and stuff like that. And each one of these roles will have some capabilities. And capabilities are some permissions or stuff that you can do as a user in WordPress. So we have here a really good table which lists all the capabilities in the rows, and in the columns we have the roles or the user types. So you have super admin or editor and stuff like that. And then in the table cells you can check if this user type have this capability or this permission. So for example, activate plugins, and a super admin and an admin can activate plugins, but all the other user types cannot. And a super admin, by the way, is only different than an admin if you have a multi-site WordPress installation. And we don't have that, so super admin is an admin in our case. So in order to check if the currently logged in user has a certain capability, WordPress provides this function, current user can. And it takes the capability as a string, and it returns a boolean whether this the currently logged in user can do this permission or not. There's also another function, user can, without current, and this is if you want to check if another user other than the currently logged in one can do something. But most of the time we will use the currently logged in user. So these are roles and capabilities in a nutshell. Let's now create a feature that will let us further understand the roles and capabilities. So let's go to our website, and in our blog, let's create a button for each blog post somewhere here. And this button will delete these posts, but only if the currently logged in user is allowed to delete posts. So how will we do that? We will create a link, and this link will go to some URL and will send some request to the server, and then we'll handle this request in order to delete the post. So the link will be let's open a new tab here. It will be our home URL, and then some query arguments here. So we'll have an action, which will be delete, for example, and a post, and it will be the ID of the post. And then we will need to handle this request and get the post with this ID and delete it. So before handling, let's first create this link. So I'm gonna go to functions.php and create a new function. Let's actually add it in the helpers file. So function and prefixed theme name. Let's call it delete post. So this function will return some URL, right? Let's create this URL now. So you might think, right, I'm gonna get the home URL using this function, and then append to it our query arguments. So action and so on. But actually WordPress provides a better way to do that, much cleaner. It's called function called addQueryArgs, or addQueryArg. And it takes 2 arguments, the array of arguments we need to add to the URL and the URL that we need to add these arguments to. So in our case it's home URL, and the array will be will have the action, and let's prefix the action as well in order not to interfere with any other actions. Let's call it theme name delete post, and we need to get the post. So we can make this function accept the post ID as an argument, or we can directly use get the ID, because we will use this function inside of the loop. So get the ID will get the ID of the current post in the loop. So we will return an A tag with this URL as the href. So let's use single quotes here and our URL, and then let's close it, and then let's add the delete text, which should be escaped and translated, of course. So delete post, and the text domain, which is theme name, and we are missing a I think this should be fine. So let's use this function inside of our post, which was, I think we created a template part for it. Yes, in content. Let's add it after the read more link. It's not important how it looks now. We just need to know how to do the functionality. So we'll echo the output of this function. And let's see now. And we have the delete post link. And if you look at the bottom left, you will see where this link will take us. So if you click one of these now, it will take us to this link. Nothing will happen, of course, it won't be deleted, because now we need to handle this request. We need to check if we have this action and the post, and then delete this post if the user has this capability. So let's do that in the next lecture.